There's a lot of that noise that happens when they speak. So you know how like in Charlie Brown you hear the like trombone womp 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 womp. Every time that these white men speak, I hear
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music of
All right, let's get this road on the show.
yeah, let's talk about this movie.
I didn't know what to think going in.
So this is a Shirley Temple movie. It's not her first, it's not her last, but it is one of her most famous.
Mm-hmm.
This is The Little Colonel, which has forced me to learn how to spell the word colonel. Colonel.
Colonel.
And I had never seen a Shirley Temple movie. I'd seen clips, obviously, but I had never, like, sat down.
I think I'd seen the famous clip from this film.
Yeah, which is the staircase dance. So I was interested to see sort of what her personality type was. Like, what kind of little girl were they having her be?
Her character in this film is very in line with what she did for many of her first films, which is like this whip-smart pipsqueak that's stubborn.
Slightly belligerent,
and... Yeah, small, loud person.
Yeah.
Which is partly due to the fact that, like, we kind of did some math and we think she's, like, 5 or 6 in this film, but, like, she's incredibly articulate.
Precocious.
Reciting lines, but yeah.
Yeah.
Full context before we dive into this. This film takes place in the late 1870s, early 1880s. It takes place in the US, in the American South, and much of the plot deals with topics of racism and racial bias, and there is one character in particular who is kind of the not the antagonist, but an antagonistic character who has some pretty abominable behavior.
Yes.
So we want to be super transparent about that going in.
That isn't your cup of tea today. Completely understand, and we'll see you in 2
skip
weeks.
ahead to the next episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
we start off strong.
Starting strong with a big old credit for Shirley Temple. She gets top billing, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
We start with the descriptor, Kentucky, in the 70s. They mean the 1870s.
The 1870s.
As this came out in the 1930s, they do not mean the 1970s.
I had that moment. I was just like, when was this? This came out in 35.
Yes. We see a big plantation house with a bunch of white people in a sitting room, and one lady's sitting at a harp. There's always a harp.
I did not expect to deal with this many harps
so much
in our first season and a half of this podcast. I'm sure you were all wondering, she's not harping correctly. She is singing while playing the harp, and she's not
incorrect.
She's like, I'm not going to take much time, but like, you pluck strings of a harp with the tips of your fingers. She's fully just like sticking her fingers in between the strings and like making it seem like she's doing it. She's not.
Incorrect harping.
Like, it's fucking difficult to sing and play harp at the same time, and she is making it look way too easy.
So she sings a song. I think it's called There's Nothing Quite So Sweet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she has a lovely voice. It's a very 1930s voice, but it doesn't remind me of Snow White, which is always my biggest problem with 30s singing. She has a really nice alto.
Which is what I think of with, what's the fucking black and white two clowns movie?
Was it the Marx Brother one? Was it?
No, what's our best downloaded one? What's our most downloaded one?
Oh, Babes in Toyland?
Yeah. I always think of like that really shrill narrator Mother Swan lady.
Yeah, that whole thing. She does not sound like that. She actually has a lovely alto singing voice, which is always love to hear an alto singer in a musical.
Alto representation.
They are obsessed with sopranos. Anyway, so she sings and finishes. We see some mutton-chopped men appreciating her voice. There's a lot of that noise that happens when they speak. So you know how like in Charlie Brown you hear the like trombone womp 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 womp. Every time that these white men speak, I hear
There's one man in particular who looks like Colonel Sanders from KFC. Congratulations, that's our antagonist.
Yes.
I think that character might have been inspired by this character.
It's based in Kentucky. Wait, is this the guy? Anna.
No, his money's not from chicken.
Did they take their drawing of Colonel Sanders from this movie. It's based in Kentucky. He has the white suit and the pointy beard.
Colonel Sanders' origin. Not original chicken recipe.
No.
Oh, Colonel Sanders was a real person.
Okay.
He was. He founded KFC.
Okay.
He looks like this person, but he's
a real life.
It is just. Own self. It is just a coincidence.
Okay. All old men from this era look exactly the same.
And the thing is, like, he didn't help himself. He wore all white.
Yeah, poor choices. So the song ends, and
this is the Colonel.
This is the Colonel. The woman finishes and then goes over to the Colonel. This lady is Elizabeth, his daughter.
She's young. She's pretty. She's probably in like mid-20s.
Yeah.
Brown hair.
The guy that's standing with her dad is like, oh, if I was 20 years younger, I'd carry her off. Gross. Yeah, she's teased for what a great catch she is. Yeah, her dad is like, oh, well, some younger men here, and like points at a guy may have the same idea, and she's very embarrassed and walks off.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I am not prized cattle to be sold at auction.
Goodbye. Just then, we have an African-American man who is serving everyone drinks on a tray and almost knocks a vase off a table by accident. The Colonel yells at him and threatens to kill him if he had broken the vase.
Mm-hmm. This man's name is Walker.
This is Walker. He's not introduced until later, but he is Walker, played by Bill Robinson.
But you're right. The Colonel yells at him and dismisses him. Not like fires him, but like sends him off to like get out of my sight. And this is the point where I said, when was the Civil War won?
Yeah, exactly. So this is based in the late 70s, the 1870s. The Civil War was ended in 1865. That is
65.
When the technical ending was. Obviously, there's a long history.
Sentiments remain. Yes. And we get the feeling very strongly like the Colonel is an older gentleman.
He fought in the war.
Very much like a Southern man who believes in Southern principles and despises anyone that has anything to do with the North.
Yes.
During this commotion and the rest of the party, we see Elizabeth, the Colonel's daughter, peeking out
the window
of one window and then peeking out another. Mm-hmm. But she's called back to the main room because they have a toast. Champagne is passed around, and the Colonel says they will toast to the South in defeat and victory. Whatever that means.
Everyone cheers, but Elizabeth looks very uncomfortable and does not drink.
Mm-hmm.
So just then, the other party guests start to get ready and they go. So it's the end of the evening. Cut to later.
Yeah, we fade into Elizabeth's bedroom.
Yes.
And she's in a different outfit than she was at the party. She's dressed to travel. She has a hat and gloves and like kind of a thicker dress on.
Yes.
And she is urging her maid, Becky, who is played by
Hattie McDaniel. Who is best known, of course, for Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
This was a couple years before that.
But she's urging Becky to hurry up, and Becky says, I'm afraid of what you are about to try to do, and even more so, how mad your dad's gonna be
and you're leaving
when
me here
he
with
discovers.
Him? Like,
yeah,
I'm aiding and abetting.
Yeah, but Elizabeth says, I'm leaving, and I'm gonna send for you as soon as I arrive where I'm going. Yeah. Elizabeth then goes to the window and has a single candle on a taper, and she lifts the candle up and down, and she's signaling. She's sending a signal out the window, and we see out in the yard a white man, a mystery man, well-dressed, top hat, strikes a match, having seen her signal, and kind of returns a similar signal.
And then throws the lit match into the grass. We know better, sir. Anyway.
What was that other movie that happened?
Across the universe, I was furious. Jude
derailed the whole thing. But then this mystery man, having returned the signal, starts to approach the house and picked the noisiest
gravel.
pathway.
Like a big old dummy.
Like there is grass on either side of you,
He's
sir.
like,
you had to go down the
crunch,
crunch, crunch. And you know why we can hear it? Because the Colonel inside, sitting at his desk.
Inside. Past several doors.
Oh my god, hears the noise, is immediately suspicious.
He goes to get a gun
grabs
from
a
his
pistol.
desk. Oh my god.
Yeah, and goes out and apprehends this mystery man. And he's like, who the fuck are you skulking around my house?
Yeah.
Justified.
Yeah.
But...
Just then, Elizabeth comes running down the stairs. She had told Becky to take her bag around the back. And so she goes down and says, this is my love. I'm running away with him because we knew that you would never approve because he fought for the North.
Yes, this is Jack Sherman.
Yes.
He is a Yankee.
He's very cute.
They were going to elope because she knew her father wouldn't approve.
Yep.
Her father just like point blank hates all Yankees.
Yep.
I think what happened was Elizabeth goes like, the war is over.
Yeah.
We need to set aside our differences. But her father says like, the war will never be over for me.
Right.
I fought in the war. And Jack's like, I fought too. And I really respected the Southern soldiers that I was fighting against. He goes, that's not enough. And he tells Elizabeth to go up to her room, but she defies
And
him.
also, he like hints that like maybe Jack was the one who killed her brother, so it sounds as though her brother also died in the war, so that's another reason why this colonel is
another wound.
like hands down no, because his son died in this fight. And Jack is like, listen, my mother's from Virginia, I do have ties to the South, but the war is over, we won.
Her father tells Elizabeth that if she leaves with Jack, she will never be welcome in this house again and he will never see her again. And she looks very upset about that, but follows her heart and leaves with Jack.
Yeah.
And as he watches them leave, the colonel, left alone, grabs that vase that Walker almost broke and just smashes it to the ground.
Yes. Now this is a scene that I think would have been made better with background music. So most of the time in current movies, when there's an altercation like this, there is some sort of tension music in the background that cuts in and out in an effort to, highlight certain moments. But because there was no background music at all, it just didn't quite have the punchiness it could have. It felt like it wanted to be a play, but the dialogue wasn't good enough to like make the tension, if that makes sense.
Valid. Totally heard. I do want to point out that this is from 35, and we only started getting dialogue in films like
sound at all in films.
like under 10 years prior.
That's fair. I retract that.
No.
The
Very,
point
very valid. Because I
stands,
also
but
had
the
the thought.
judgment is retracted.
Yeah, and because I also had the thought when he like smashed the vase to the ground, I was like, that moment fell short for me because I don't know, it could have been more.
There
with
was
some
no
backing
like
music.
backing music sort of pulling your heart in the direction that they want you to
Yeah.
feel. So anyway, it was just an interesting moment where I actively noticed like this could be better with some background music and with some orchestration. Anyway, cut to 6 years later.
To the western
West.
frontier out the general west of the US. The subtitles say, or not, the titles superimposed say Western Frontier Outpost, and it is 6 years later. We are in a bustling western town somewhere out west in the US. This is obviously the time when like prospectors were making their way out west. There was gold in California and there were fortunes to be made in the untamed western United States.
Yeah, I mean the 49 gold rush had already happened, and so like everyone knew there was gold out west.
This is clearly like the last major town before you go out to make your fortune
Yes.
and don't see people for weeks.
So there's like an army base there.
Yeah, and we get a lovely bugle call to have all the men gather, all the soldiers line up, and from the little army headquarter building, out comes Shirley Temple,
stomping her feet.
all like 3'5" of
Not
her. She's
even.
so
She's
small.
so tiny. With her perfect fucking curls. So she is Lloyd Sherman. She has been named after her grandfather, which is insane.
I love the name Lloyd for a girl.
I don't mind the name Lloyd for a girl. I hated the fact that Elizabeth,
She was named
her
after
mother,
the despicable
was named
grandfather?
after her racist grandfather. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
No.
Fan of the name Lloyd in general for
Yeah.
a woman. Elizabeth and Jack come out.
They're very much still in love.
Yes, they come out following her. They're her parents.
Yep.
And surprise, the big announcement that all the men have been gathered for is that Elizabeth and Lloyd are going to be heading back east. But before they do, Lloyd has been made a colonel.
Yeah.
Everyone at this outpost loves her. They're just like big
Yeah.
fans of her. So they have like a
She's
little
an
ceremony to
honorary
make her a colonel.
because she captured a whole unit's hearts. Like,
Heart.
fucking
So
adorable.
cute.
So they give her a piece of paper with an official proclamation, and she says she can't read. What? Anyway.
No, she says the print is too small.
And she says, and I can't read anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I mean, what was the literacy rate of children
Fair.
in
1880.
if you were not like
A
I don't know
governess
what
in
half
school,
she's been in
etc.
Yeah, like, she was lucky if her mom was homeschooling her.
Yeah.
They're literally in the West.
In the West. I was over on the bench. All right. So they have a really cute interaction, this commander and her, and she's like, do colonels still have to go to bed at 7 p.m.? And he's like, sometimes they can stay up till 8. She's like, tell my parents.
But we learn that part of the reason Elizabeth and Lloyd are heading back east is because Jack is going out west. They've been based
Further
at this
west.
army post for a while. Yes, he is going even further west. So Elizabeth and Lloyd can't stay there without him. So they're going to head back to the south.
Where she has a cottage.
It's her mother's old cottage.
Yes, that was left to
So
her.
they're not going to stay with her grandfather, but
It's,
it's
like,
like
around
in
the
the
corner.
same town.
Yeah, it's really close.
Down the block.
Yeah.
Because it's not safe for women and children
Right,
to go
exactly.
as far, like to go into the wilderness as Jack is going.
Yeah. Now, Jack is going there with another guy who has a really skeevy vibe, and he lives up to that reputation, let me tell you.
I know that character has a name. I just called him Swindler.
Swindler! Perfect. He's our gangster.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the yard, Lloyd is ordering some men around and giggling when they obey. It is adorable. She's like, attention! And then they like snap to attention and she like bursts out and giggles. It's great. And they do magic tricks with her and she's just like absolutely delighted. And then this skeevy guy, the swindler, comes over and picks up Lloyd and she's like, stop, you're hurting me. He's like, I wouldn't hurt you. Give me a kiss. Sir, put down the child. And she just squirms until he puts her down. And I'm like, all of these soldiers
she
around
knows.
here should be stopping this, but okay. Ugh, hated it.
Children weren't listened to.
No.
Children's thoughts
They didn't have,
and opinions did not matter.
No. Anyway.
But Lloyd and her mother hop into a carriage and they wave goodbye and they head back east.
Yes. Oh, and Becky's with them, by the way.
Oh, is she? I didn't notice.
Yeah, she's there. She gets into the carriage with them. So she did get sent
Nice.
for, basically. She hasn't just been
Right.
back in
And now
Kentucky
they
this
all
whole
have
time.
to go
Now we
back
all are
east.
going back to Kentucky. Here we go.
The old colonel, I called him grandfather for 99%
I just
of
called
this,
him the
is
colonel.
eating.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of the two.
Yeah.
Is eating breakfast on his terrace, and he chastises
Walker.
for spreading gossip.
Yeah, because Walker comes up and is like, oh, did you hear this stuff is going on in town? It's going to be a good year for the crops. And he's like, I
like, "I don't
prefer
care
to
about
eat
this."
in silence. And so as he's about to leave, Walker is like, then I guess you don't want to know that cottage that your wife used to own is now having someone living in it. But you don't want to know that. It was very sassy.
And the colonel's like, oh, well, that'll be nice to have neighbors, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and visit my new neighbors. And the next time we see him, he's walking down the road. He's got a little
Flowers.
bouquet of flowers. The cottage is in disrepair. He notices like the fence is falling apart.
Yeah.
He goes up, he knocks on the door, and gasp, it's Elizabeth.
Oh, my. Now, she's actually kind of happy to see him.
Yeah, because she thinks he's come to see her.
Yeah.
But obviously he didn't know she was going to be there. He's not happy. He leaves without a word. He throws the bouquet on the ground like a child having a tantrum.
Which is his whole aesthetic.
Yeah. And then I wrote, Elizabeth is sad in an old-timey way.
That's very
Because
correct.
she kind of just like
Dejectedly
slumps
goes
against
back inside.
the door frame. Yeah, and like tilts her head to the side.
It's very picturesque. It's a picturesque slump. And so Lloyd comes up and asks, who was that? And she says that it's your grandfather. Why didn't he come in? Did he make you cry? And Elizabeth doesn't really answer. And so Lloyd goes over. They have a big old portrait of him over the fireplace. And so Lloyd goes over to it and is just like, you're a bad man for making my mother cry. Like, great. Good.
I'm going to take this moment
Okay.
to say, cottage is a very loose
Two-story house.
way to refer to this house. It felt like Hermione's purse, where it's like the exterior looked a lot smaller.
Yeah.
The interior is massive. It has a massive sitting room, a fireplace. There's an upstairs.
Yeah.
Like a 2-room cottage. This is not.
No,
This is like a house.
I was
And they're
anticipating
calling
like
it a cottage.
Miss Honey's cottage in
A
Matilda.
shack.
Like
Yeah,
that's what I was
yeah.
like, something that's like quaint but tiny.
Cozy. Yeah. This is
This
a
is
house.
a house.
And maybe, I mean, having seen the size of the grandfather's mansion,
Yeah.
it's fair to say you can call this a cottage in comparison.
If
but
that's
to
a
anyone
house.
else, this is
Yeah.
a valid house.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lloyd goes into the kitchen
Yeah.
and asks Becky for some information, like why won't her grandfather come in? So Becky explains that the Colonel got angry when Elizabeth married Jack, and so Lloyd asked, shouldn't dads love their daughters no matter what? Becky's like, yeah, they should. And Lloyd is like, this seems suspicious. And Becky's just like, your whole family is stubborn. Your grandfather's stubborn. Your mother is stubborn. You are very stubborn. And Lloyd sort of objects to being called that, but she agrees to help out in the kitchen. Just then Elizabeth walks in.
Yes, with the news that Elizabeth's aunt is going to be visiting them for lunch. And Becky kind of makes a comment like, we've only got one chicken, so I guess we're making soup to make it stretched. We get the feeling that
they're low on funds.
Obviously, they're not taking any money from the grandfather, even if he was offering it. And they're getting low on funds.
Yeah. At that point, Elizabeth goes over to Lloyd and stops her from eating a cookie. She's like, you will ruin your lunch. And she tells her, your great aunt will be joining us and you have to be polite. I know you like to speak your mind, but you have to be polite. So Elizabeth leaves and Lloyd asks Becky to tell her a story, but she doesn't have time.
She asks for a pink story. This is the first pink story.
Yeah. These are basically stories in which everything is pink.
Yeah. A pink castle, a pink unicorn, pink ball gowns,
Whole
that
thing.
kind of spiel.
Yeah.
And Becky's like, I'm busy making lunch. Go outside to play.
Yeah. She's like, go play with these two people. But there's a really cute moment, which felt very grandmother
the
energy.
cookie?
Yeah. Where Lloyd goes to take a cookie again. And Becky's just like, don't you let me see you take a cookie. And then very purposefully like looks into the oven. And so Lloyd grabs 2 cookies and runs away giggling. And she's like, good thing I didn't see you. Like,
Big grandma energy.
Big grandma energy.
And the next time we see Lloyd, she's walking down a dirt road with 2 other kids. These kids' names are May Lily and Henry Clay. Both are African-American children that live in the neighborhood. And Lloyd is telling a story about an adventure she had out west.
Yeah, she won a fight.
Yeah. And Lily says, you can't be a colonel because you don't have any whiskers. Obviously, all colonels have whiskers.
She's like, I don't need whiskers. I have a temper.
Yes. And Lily's like, that's fair. Every colonel I know has a bad temper. They walk up to the grandfather colonel's house because they're kind of just like wandering the neighborhood. And Lloyd goes right up to his house and she picks a rose off of his trellis.
That's growing along his house, yeah.
And Lily's like, that's dangerous. Like, this is a mean old man. You can't do that. And Lloyd's like, he's not going to notice. I'd like to see him try and stop me.
It's like, I'm not afraid. And May Lily is just like, I am absolutely afraid of this man.
Yes, I am absolutely afraid. But Lloyd convinces May Lily and Henry Clay they just like start picking all the roses and they collect them.
And then they go and
they march
mud pies
past his front door and make mud pies. The colonel comes out from around the corner and he sees a single dropped rose and he's like, some motherfucker is picking my flowers. And he finds a trail of them because Henry Clay has been holding the roses, but Henry Clay's probably like
3. He's so small.
So he's dropping them.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Because Lloyd had picked all of these roses and given them to Henry Clay to hold, and he's just like sort of trailing behind them. So there's like a trail of roses leading right to where they are going, playing in the mud.
He's so cute. And the colonel grandfather comes around the corner, sees them all. May Lily sees the colonel see them. She grabs Henry Clay's hand and books it. She is not stupid. Meanwhile, Lloyd's just like, I'm gonna keep playing mud pies because she doesn't notice. Like, she has her back to the colonel.
Yeah, exactly. So the colonel, who has a cane, pokes her.
He's an old man.
He's an old man. Pokes her and is like, what are you doing here? And so Lloyd yells at him and is just like, don't poke me.
I don't like being poked.
And he's like, oh, you should respect your elders. She's like, I don't respect anyone who pokes me with a stick. And I'm like, correct.
Correct. Dear listener, if you take anything
Do
from
not
this
respect
film,
old men who poke you with sticks.
And Lloyd gives him a piece of her mind, and this culminates in her grabbing a tiny fistful of mud and throwing it at him.
Oh man, splatters his lovely white suit.
On his lovely white suit.
Loved it. And of course, she immediately bolts after doing this because she knows that he'll be mad. He runs after her, but at that point, Becky is coming from her house looking for her, and so she runs and hides behind her. And it's at that point that it's revealed who Lloyd is to the colonel.
Yes, because the colonel makes a comment like, who are your parents letting you run around this dirt like a ragamuffin? You're covered in mud. Like, these are terrible parents. And Becky kind of says like, well, it's your daughter. This is your granddaughter. And the colonel is shook.
And she also gives her name. She's like, my name is Lloyd Sherman. So he also knows that they named her after him. The colonel apologizes to Lloyd and she forgives him. and then they leave. So we cut to Elizabeth and her aunt on the porch. Elizabeth is reading out a letter that Jack has sent, but she sort of is censoring it, and we see the letter say, I know you must be running out of money. Just hold out a little bit longer. I promise it'll all be okay, sort of deal. And Jack sort of assures in the letter that he'll be home as soon as he can. Just then, Becky carries Lloyd in, and she is covered in mud.
She's covered in mud.
Oh, man.
And Lloyd announces that she's been to visit her grandfather, and they hollered at each other, and she threw mud at him. And Elizabeth is
Horrified.
Her first reaction is that she's so upset that Lloyd has disgraced her by going to her grandfather's house looking like a quote-unquote a dirty little beggar.
Yes. She's like, but I didn't beg him for anything. I don't understand.
Yeah. And Elizabeth's aunt says, you should let Lloyd go to her grandfather's house and get to know him. Don't be so selfish. This could be beneficial for you.
Like, I know you don't want to take money, but like, you need to think about your daughter. This may help mend some wounds that you guys have given each other.
Let him get to know his granddaughter. And Elizabeth says, absolutely no fucking way. Not after the things that my dad has said about Jack in the past. We're done. Bridge burned. No looking back.
Nah. So cut to inside. Her mother had sent her inside with Becky. So Lloyd is
to take a bath.
Take a bath and go to bed. So Lloyd looks like she's asleep in bed, and Becky's singing her a lullaby. And she says, you know, you look like an angel when you're asleep, not like the devil you are when you're awake. And Lloyd immediately sits up and starts laughing. It's great.
Yeah. But Becky says, listen, if you promise to take your nap, I will take you to a baptism. And Lloyd is super, super excited at the idea of that. And so she promptly goes to sleep.
Yes.
We then see Elizabeth writing a letter to Jack. And then we cut to the west and we see Jack reading said letter.
Yes. And so he's out there basically looking for gold and looking for land that has gold on it. Prospecting. Just then we cut to two men. One of them is the swindler.
Yes.
So he is loading a shotgun with gold dust, and they shoot a rock. So that sprays the gold dust on it, and it makes it look like this is filled with gold.
It makes it look like they hit the rock with a chisel or something and revealed gold hidden inside the rock, implying that there must be a gold ore.
It's honestly a very smart
near
con.
here. Yeah.
So they cut out this chunk of rock that looks like raw ore, and they go to Jack and they use it to convince him to buy this land for a decent amount of money. Jack at first is hesitant, but then they're like, oh, that's fine, we'll sell it to someone else. We're leaving town in a couple days anyway. We don't really have time to wait. And so Jack is like, fuck it, I'll buy it, let's go.
He's swindled.
He is swindled, bamboozled. So we cut back to Kentucky.
Becky and Lloyd are dressed nicely and on their way to the baptism. They run into Walker. Obviously, Becky and Walker know each other. They used to work together. Yep. And knowing how smart Lloyd is, Becky and Walker proceed to have the next conversation kind of in code by spelling out words. The things. Like Lloyd's smart, but Lloyd can't spell yet. So,
she can't read, so spelling is slightly
read.
beyond. Yeah.
So Becky's like, yeah, we're almost really out of MONIE.
So basically the whole conversation is they're running out of food and money. Becky says that Liz would rather go to the poorhouse than ask the colonel for money. And Lloyd ends up figuring out one of them and is like, what is the poorhouse? Is it nice? And Becky's like, no, it's absolutely not. No. She's like, oh, I don't want my mom to go there. And it's like, don't worry, the Lord will provide. And just then we start hearing someone singing Hallelujah by the river.
Oh, I thought they were singing Wade in the Water.
Well, it starts with Hallelujah, and then it switches into Wade in the Water.
This baptism scene is just a really nice, long shot with a lot of people singing and dancing.
In harmony.
And a bunch of people.
It's really pretty. It's just like a really nice song.
Doesn't make this a musical.
No.
But it's nice.
But it's nice.
We cut next to Lloyd playing with May Lily and Henry Clay, and Lloyd's like, I went to a baptism and I know everything about baptisms now. So they're having a play baptism for Henry Clay in the creek.
And it's very funny. So they're like all in white because they stole sheets off of the colonel's bed.
The colonel's bed. We don't know that yet.
No, but so they're all in like these white robes because that's what they saw all of the adults wearing whenever they were doing the baptism. And they get Henry ready and they're like, are you ready to be saved? And so they dunk him, and then she sings off key Hallelujah, which was great. They're like, do you feel saved yet? And he's like, nope. And so they dunk him again.
Dunk him again.
He's like, do you feel saved yet? And he's like, yes. just then the Colonel Grandpa walks up and is like, what are you doing? And May Lily once again grabs her brother and is like, yeet, like, I gotta get out the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm not sticking around for this. But Lloyd talks to her grandfather and he invites her up to his house to get her clothes dried off.
But there is a moment I would like to talk about where she like explains what they were doing, and she's like, and Henry must be really bad because it took a few dunks to save him. And sort of like in spite of himself, the grandfather laughs. He finds that funny and laughs, and then he like realizes what he's done. He's like, and then he's like, okay, let's take you up to my house. We'll get you dried off.
Lloyd gives him a hug and she says, I'm sorry, I threw mud at you and I lost my temper, and he accepts her apology. And she goes, I'm also sorry I took the sheets off your bed for this baptism. Thanks!
And he's like, you stole my sheets? She's like, I had to have them. It was a baptism.
The Colonel takes her up to the house and into the kitchen, and he orders his staff to give Lloyd a bath. There's a female servant there named Mariah, and she says, we don't have any clothes for, like, there is no kids in this house. Yeah. And the Colonel says, you know what, Walker, go up to the attic. There should be a small trunk up there. There should be things that fit Lloyd.
Yeah. So this is obviously stuff that Elizabeth had when she was a kid.
Yes. And so Walker goes out, the Colonel leaves, Mariah turns to Lloyd, starts taking her out of this baptism stuff, and she goes, you know, you are the spitting image of your mother when she was your age.
Absolutely. And she's like, did she have a temper too? And she's like, yes, she did.
Yes, she did.
Cut to a little bit later, Lloyd is all cleaned up and dressed like a little Bo Peep.
She is in the frilliest white dress. She's got a bonnet and pantaloons.
Oh man. Think of Toy Story Little Bo Peep. It is that outfit.
Yeah.
It's that outfit.
And she wants to go surprise her grandfather in this new outfit.
And so she goes into the main room and she sees a large portrait of a lady. And so she goes to the harp and just like does a quick like run her fingers across it. And then she starts to sing Love's Young Dream. And the harp keeps playing and then a ghost appears.
Now, I thought this was the same song.
Is it the same one that she sang?
I think it was. The woman was singing at the beginning.
That
Elizabeth was singing. Yeah.
I thought so, but only because of context clues, not because I remembered the song in any way.
Oh, I don't remember the song in any way other than it was pretty. But Lloyd just kind of like stands next to the harp, and this is not a musical because it's Lloyd presenting and like performing this song for her grandfather.
Yeah, it doesn't advance her internal plot.
No. Her grandfather imagines a woman in a blue dress playing the harp next to Lloyd.
A ghost.
At first, I thought it was Elizabeth. Like it was a memory of the first scene of this film.
But then the grandfather goes to the big portrait and is like, this is your grandmother. And your grandmother wrote that song. So I think what that was his memory of his wife.
100%, 100%. When Lloyd finishes the song, she kind of approaches her grandfather and curtsies, being like, look, I can be a lady.
Yeah, I know how to do things.
Yeah, and Colonel kind of has this vulnerable moment of sharing details with Lloyd about her great-grandmother. Her grandmother.
Whose name is Amanthus.
I could not figure out what he said. Amanthus?
Amanthus. My guess is Amanthys. That is my guess.
Sure. Lloyd then asks him to tell her a story, specifically a blue story,
yes.
And Colonel Grandfather's like, I don't know what that means.
So the spell is sort of broken whenever Lloyd says, oh, I wish grandmother was here now because then she would go and help my mom.
Is that what she said?
Yeah. So she's sort of blaming the grandfather for leaving her mother out to dry. And so the spell is immediately broken. So she asks for a story, a blue story. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I don't know what that is, but why don't we play a game? And they kind of go back and forth being like, oh, do you know how to play this? No. Do you know how to play this?
Let's play cribbage. Like,
yeah. But they settle on toy soldiers.
Yes. And while they're setting up their game, they end up arguing over the proper way to salute. And she tells him, no, I am a colonel. I would know. This is how you salute. And he's like, you are insane, child. You are not a colonel. She's like, I have a paper that says so. So
they're so similar in their stubbornness.
Yes.
We really see that in this scene, and that like neither will back down.
Yes. They set up their army pieces, and he says, okay, we'll play army. I will be the Confederacy, and you can be the Union. To which she replies, goody, I got the winning side, and he is furious.
Yeah.
So he actually storms off.
Clearly just very prideful and still
butthurt about it. So she starts to play by herself and starts like flicking over his pieces like, ha, I killed this one, ha, I killed this one. And he comes back and he's like, whoa, 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 you can't just advance because then I kill your people, and knocks over a bunch of them.
Yeah, he tries to teach her the rules of war.
And so she flips the table.
Yeah, because she's a child.
Fuck it.
She was like, fuck it. You knocked over my pieces, I knock over the
Knock
whole
over your
goddamn
fucking table.
And they stare at each other.
Yeah, and she like hands on hips like, meh,
Yeah, meh.
stamps her foot.
But suddenly, her grandfather Colonel embraces her. He's
Her
like, yeah,
grandfather
you know
Colonel.
what? Fuck it. You are a
Yeah,
Sherman.
no, you're definitely
By
a Sherman.
God, we have the same temper.
Yeah.
And she says, you know what? I'll try to control my temper if you will.
Yes. So by then the clothes
Strike
are
a
dry.
bargain.
So they go back to get her into her clothes, and he's like, you know what? I'll ride you home on my horse. They go outside, and May, Lily, and Henry are there playing in like a little toy wagon. And Lloyd is like, oh, we should give them a ride home too. And he's like, hell no.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But eventually she convinces him, and so he agrees. So Lloyd gets up onto the horse with the Colonel, and May Lily and Henry Clay get into the little wagon and throw him a rope, and so he like drags him behind, and Henry starts immediately laughing his head off. He's having the best time.
And I'm not sure how far away the cottage is. Clearly, it's close enough to walk, but far enough that, like, riding a horse is worth it.
I think on the roads it's longer, but like if you go through the back, I think they're connected in a
maybe.
different way. Like if you don't go on the road, then it's a lot faster. But if
Sure.
you go the road, there's like a little bit of a round
Fair.
sort of
The
way.
point is, like, there are passerby
Yeah.
who live in this town who know the Colonel's reputation and then see this wild procession and are kind of mystified
They're
and
just like,
charmed by
this
it.
is adorable. I did not expect this from
Yeah.
this cranky old man.
Yeah.
So they get home.
May Lily and Henry Clay have been dropped off at this point. It's just the Colonel and Lloyd. He drops her off, and she says she'll come visit him again, even if her mom doesn't want to.
Yes.
Cut to another day, I think.
A guy's delivering a telegram to Elizabeth and comes in, and she's worried that it's bad news and she doesn't want to open it, but she does eventually, and it's news that Jack is coming home, and she is thrilled. She's like, he's gonna be coming with gold we can eat. And so she's just convinced that because he sent a telegram, which is very, very expensive, it's a good sign. He's coming home. All of their worries will be taken care of. She won't have to ask her dad for money.
Cut to another day. A carriage pulls up to the cottage. Jack gets out of the carriage looking rough.
Really
He has
rough,
to make
really
it to the
bad.
door, kind of leaning on the driver. He looks awful. They don't even make it to the gate of the house.
Yeah.
Elizabeth sees, runs out, gives him a big kiss, and then kind of like immediately
collapses.
realizes like, oh, something is wrong.
Yeah.
So they carry him into the house.
And she sends someone to fetch the doctor, and so the doctor
Yeah,
comes.
the driver from the carriage
Yeah.
to go get a doctor. We learn that Jack is sick with a fever, and he's like, "Don't come near me." Meanwhile, Elizabeth has already
I've
fully
already
kissed
kissed
him
you,
on the
bro.
mouth.
Like,
it
it's
is
too late. But Lloyd comes running down, and she's like, oh, I want to hug my dad. And her mom's like, no, I'm sorry. He's sick right now. You can wave at him from here, but, like, you can't go near him.
Yeah, and Lloyd's upset because she wants to see her dad, but doesn't fight. She goes with Becky into another room.
Yes.
Jack admits to Elizabeth now that they're alone. The doctor hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah.
They're still waiting on the doctor. He admits that he was swindled.
Yes.
That land that he bought was worthless. There was no gold, and they are truly penniless now.
And Lloyd hears all of this.
Yeah, she overhears this from the other room. She's like right around the corner.
Yeah. And there's a sweet moment where he's like, you made a poor bargain choosing me over your family. And she's like, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
They're still very,
They're
much,
very
in
much
love.
in love.
They're having hard times, but,
But
still very
they're
much in
together.
love.
Yeah. There's a knock on the door. It is the doctor. I caught you right while you were
Just
drinking.
unprepared for yeah, you caught me on Canuck.
I did that
Every
on
time.
purpose. All right.
God damn it.
In the kitchen, Lloyd tells Becky, oh, I think those bad men that were with my dad, I think that they made him sick. And Becky's like, that's not how illness and disease works.
Yeah.
So back in the main room.
The doctor
Yeah,
arrives.
the doctor comes in.
He examines Jack, and to Jack and Elizabeth, he's like, you just need to rest
You'll be
to get
fine.
better. And the doctor leaves, but Elizabeth follows him, and they speak privately
Mm-hmm.
on the porch without Jack hearing them. And the doctor's like, listen, he's in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
You need to send Lloyd away until he gets better,
Yeah.
because this could be a risk to her.
Right. So it's like, you may be able to fight it off, but she's still really young.
Yeah.
You don't want to test her immune system like that. They don't know about immune systems, but that's the thinking.
And Elizabeth is like, oh, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to send her. And the doctor's like, don't be
You know exactly
stupid.
where
Don't
to
be
send her.
stubborn. You know exactly where to send her. Send her to her grandfather's. I know they've been hanging out. This is a small town.
Yeah.
You're being
We
stubborn.
all saw her on the horse. So
Cut to Elizabeth dropping Lloyd off at her grandfather's house. And
with her dog.
Lloyd has a dog.
Yeah.
And as much as Lloyd likes hanging out with her grandfather, she's never spent the night away from
They've
her
never
mom.
been apart that long.
Yeah. And she's like, I did not sign up for this extended sleepover. And Elizabeth's like, look, it's just until your dad gets better.
And then we'll be a family
We'll send for you as soon as we
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
So cut to later that night. Lloyd is very bored. It's a very quiet evening. The Colonel's just reading in a chair, and she's just there, just like, I'm so bored.
Because the Colonel lives alone, except for
The servants.
Mariah and Walker. This is not a house for children.
There's nothing to do.
There's no toys. No children have lived here for a long time.
Yeah.
Lloyd is bored out of her mind, and the Colonel says he can't stand noise. Like, this is his house. He's
Yeah.
like, I want it to be quiet. So he sends
The dog outside.
that's right. The noise is that, like, the dog is whining or something. So Walker takes the dog outside and is ordered to take Lloyd up to bed. Lloyd kisses her grandfather goodnight. And the Colonel kind of criticizes the clothes that she's wearing.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe your mother sent you to
It's
this house to
disrespectful.
stay with me looking in, like, shitty clothes. Why did you dress like that? And Lloyd's like, these are the best clothes I have, you jackass.
And I like them, so fuck off. She also says,
It doesn't matter anyway, because soon we're going to be going to the poor house.
I love it.
Which is just like, she knows that hits her grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, what?
What? Anyway, so she leaves, and she goes to actually leave the house, and Walker stops her. She's like, I don't want
"What
to
are you doing?"
stay here. At least at home, my mother loves me no matter what I look like. And Walker's like, he's just grouchy. Please ignore him. Let's get you upstairs and go to bed. And she's like, I don't want to go upstairs. And he's like, okay, well, let me show you a really, really fun way to go up and down stairs.
And Lloyd's like, there's only one way to go upstairs. What are you talking about?
And he starts to tap. Now, this is Bill Robinson, who is a very famous tapper, and he is delightful.
So good.
Oh man, what a
This is such a great.
It's such a good scene. Good tapping, also good performance as well. So not just like skilled, but also a skilled performer.
Yeah.
And so he does this fabulous tap up and down the stairs and gets her very excited. And so she's like, I want to learn how to do that. And so he takes her hand and they tap their way up and down the stairs, and it is adorable. It is so cute. And he's like, oh, you learn really fast. This is really great. He also adjusts his steps to make them match hers. It's just like the sweetest, adorable moment.
I wonder how many takes they had to do.
I don't know. I couldn't find any information about that.
I have a very silly note about this, which is, I love this scene. I do want to point out that right before this, the Colonel was like, I hate noise.
I thought about this too.
And you know what's not quiet in the slightest?
Tap dancing.
Tap dancing on a wooden staircase. To be fair, I wrote that note, and then at the very end of the dance, we hear the Colonel from the other room being like, What's going on in there? So we just suspend our disbelief for this one number,
moment.
and then right back into reality.
Yeah, exactly. So the Colonel yells, oh, what's that racket? And so they run themselves upstairs and get into the bedroom. And Lloyd says that she had a lot of fun. She didn't know that going upstairs could be that fun. And Walker promises to show her more dance moves tomorrow, which is great.
We see the Colonel very briefly downstairs looking up at his wife's portrait, kind of solemn and sad. And he goes upstairs and he goes into his room, which is across the landing from Lloyd's room.
Yes.
We very quickly then see Lloyd crying in her big bed all by herself because she's homesick. She wants her mom.
At that point, Walker goes downstairs and opens up the back door and grabs her dog. And he's just like,
Yeah, he lets her dog back in.
You got to be quiet, but, we need to get you to Lloyd, because you will help her sleep.
Yes. And it's a small dog.
very
It kind
small
of looks like a
dog.
whippet.
Yeah.
It's not super, super thin like a whippet, but it's got those skinny little legs.
Skinny legs. Very small dog. Handheld dog.
Very easy to carry under like one arm, which is important because Walker goes up the stairs, and as he's about to bring the dog into Lloyd's room, the Colonel's door opens and Walker swings the dog behind his back, so he's hiding him from the Colonel.
The Colonel's like, what are you
This
doing
is my
up
moment
here?
of joy.
It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's so great. So he's hiding the dog behind his back, and the Colonel's like, what are you doing up here? And he's like, I thought you might like a hot toddy. And the Colonel's like, that is a brilliant idea, yes. And then the dog barks and yips.
Yeah.
Like a little...
Like whines. Yeah.
And the Colonel is just like, what was that noise? And Walker's just like, I have a cough.
And the colonel's just like,
You should take care of that.
okay, don't cough at me.
Yeah.
And goes back into his room. So Walker turns around very quickly, brings the dog
Throws
into
the
Lloyd's
dog
room.
into
and
Lloyd's room and then shuts the
my
door.
And Lloyd's like, good, now I can go to sleep.
Yeah, and the dog like curls up right next to her head. It's very adorable.
Later that night, we see the colonel peek into Lloyd's room.
Mm-hmm.
She's fallen asleep with a light on, so he turns out the light. And then he picks something up off the floor.
Yeah, I didn't know what that
couldn't
was.
figure it out. It's a shoe. It's one of her shoes. Because the next morning, the colonel goes to Walker and he goes, look.
No, it's right after he walks out of that room. Because then he runs into Walker, and Walker immediately, before the colonel can say anything, is just like, I don't know how the dog got in the house.
I don't know how the dog got in there.
And he's like, don't worry about it.
I don't care about that. I want you to go on Saturday, which is, I'm guessing, in like a couple days.
Yeah.
Go into town and buy Lloyd a whole new wardrobe.
Yeah.
Everything that she needs.
Yeah.
Dresses,
Hats,
shoes, whatever goes under dresses. Like,
I know, that was funny. He was like, I don't know what it happens, but whatever.
Yeah. And Walker's like, yes, sir. And the colonel
Absolutely.
kind of said to himself, gosh, I'm an old fool. And Walker goes,
Yes, sir.
And the
Then
colonel's like,
scampers
what'd
away.
you say?
Then we cut back to the cottage. 1 or 2 days later, Liz is reading a book to Jack. Jack has a wish. He's like, oh, I wish happy endings could exist. Normally when you get married, then that's the happily ever
It's
after.
all- your
but
problems
there's
are solved.
Problems are
Yeah,
solved.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, that's not life. And we're like, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
So then a knock comes at the door. And this is like
So many Canucks.
so many Canucks. This is the fastest business deal I've ever seen in my life. So this guy comes in. He's like, I am from the railroad company. We need your land. It is valuable. We want to build right through it so we don't have to go through a mountain. All I need is a yes or no. That's like the whole thing.
And Jack's like, whoa. This is like the solution to all my dreams.
Amazing.
And the guy's like, I need a yes,
Yes
or,
or
a
no,
no.
sir. And he says that he will give him $5,000 for the right to build through his land. That is
Did you do-
$1,400 today. Or no, sorry. No, $140,000.
Thank you. I was just like, how did it go backwards?
No. Money.
I was hoping you did the math because that's not your job.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it was $140,000. So like it would help. It's not gonna like solve everything.
That's less than I thought it was
Me
going
too.
to be.
Jack immediately agrees. He's like, yes, I will do no negotiating.
Yes, sign on the dotted line.
And so the man says, good, have the deed of the land brought here tonight. I'll come with the contract and the check because the deed is in his bank account. Smart. Don't keep important documents where they can be stolen.
Now, Jack is so happy he feels absolutely cured. That being said, he can't go to the bank.
No.
He's actually still
Elizabeth
sick.
is just like, you may feel cured, but you are still sick, sir. Sit down.
So Elizabeth goes to the bank on their behalf to get the deed.
Yes.
We then cut to Colonel Grandpa's house. Lloyd is in the stable. She's wearing a new dress.
Pink dress.
Whether Walker's already gone to get her new wardrobe or not, we don't know. But she has a new dress on, so maybe he has. But the point is, Walker has to go into town because
Yes.
Lloyd's like, oh, are you going to teach me more dancing today? And he goes, I can't. I have to go on an errand for your grandfather.
Yes.
But they do dance
They do a little
very
dance.
quickly anyway. Lily and Henry Clay are there just hanging out. I like tap dancing, and we haven't had tap dancing since
In a while.
Anything Goes.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Did they tap dance in Anything Goes? I don't think it was explicit tapping. It was just Donald
I think
O'Connor.
It was Donald O'Connor just, he's doing like some soft shoe.
Yeah, they're doing soft shoes, but it's
But he
not.
wasn't doing like a legit tap dance. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had like a true tap dance, and this was really lovely.
Yeah, so this made
and
me
they dance
happy.
together, and he's like, "Oh, you pick it up really fast." It's just like a really cute interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Walker gets called off, so he leaves, and just then a carriage pulls up with our swindlers.
Swindling prospectors.
Yes. So they're the two guys that sold Jack the property. And so they ask Lloyd where her dad is, and
Well, they recognize Lloyd
Yeah.
because they knew Lloyd from out
because
west.
he's the gross guy from the beginning.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're so happy to see you." And she doesn't really say anything to them
No,
because she
she's
doesn't
like,
trust him. And they're like, "You ought to be happy to see us."
Yeah. But she does end up telling them that her dad is homesick.
They're like, "And where's your dad live?" She goes, "He's down the road."
Down the road that way.
Stranger danger.
Yeah.
But as soon as they drive off, Lily and Henry Clay have kind of come up next to Lloyd, and Lloyd goes, "Those are bad men.
Yes.
Bad dudes."
Yes. So at the cottage, the two men come in. Jack is in the main room, And they start trying to gaslight him, basically. And they're like, we didn't know the land we sold you was worthless. We feel so bad about it. We went out west. We came back to see how you were going. We found out what happened. So we're just here to fix the problem. We will buy the land back from you for exactly the price that you sold it to us, so you won't lose a penny. Now, this is obviously much less than the railroad is willing to pay for it.
Yes.
They're like, just hand over the deed. And Jack is just like, get the fuck out of my house. And he's like, you found out that the land is worth more. You were just trying to swindle me again.
Fool me once.
Fool me once.
Shame on me. Fool me once. No. Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me.
Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Fool me twice. So they
pull a gun on
They pull a gun on him because he's like, get the fuck out of my house. And they're like, listen, we can do this the gentleman way or not, but either way, you're going to give us the deed.
They threaten to tear the house apart, trying to find the deed.
Because Jack has told them, oh, I've already given the deed to the railroad company.
Yeah.
I don't even have it anymore. And they're like, bullshit. And so just then they pull a gun because they hear someone coming through the front door and they sort of hide behind this wall.
And Becky comes in the front door being like, I ran into someone who saw Elizabeth. Elizabeth's on her way home with the deed from the bank now.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, fuck.
And so she goes into the kitchen and Jack does a full face palm. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, so one of the swindling prospectors keeps Jack at gunpoint in the living room while the other follows Becky into the kitchen. But before we see this, we see Lloyd getting to the house. She goes around the side to the kitchen door and she peeks in the door and she sees Becky being threatened into the pantry by one of the swindlers at gunpoint.
And locked in.
He locks her in the pantry.
Yes.
And then the swindler goes back into the main room where Jack and the original
And Lloyd
bad
sort of
swindler
follows
is.
through the kitchen and like slowly opens the door and so hears them threaten to kill her dad if he doesn't give them the deed and like, we'll just wait for Elizabeth to get here. So she runs back outside the house and runs up.
She doesn't free Becky.
No. She doesn't. I mean, I'm assuming it's locked and the bad guy had the key. That's what my assumption is.
Okay.
I'm assuming it
I'm
wasn't
just
just like an outside lock that she could have just quickly done. I don't know. But anyway, so she runs back up to the house.
To her grandfather's house.
Yes, she runs back up to her grandfather's house and runs into Mariah in the kitchen. And she's like, where's my grandfather or where's Walker? And she's like, they're both out for the day. Walker's in town. Her grandfather's up at the overseer's house.
How was the Undertaker?
I thought it was the overseer.
Overseer? Undertaker? It's one of them.
One of those two.
One of them. And Lloyd's like, all right, well, you have to help me. There's a problem at home. And Maria goes,
Mariah's
absolutely
like, hard
no way.
pass.
No way am I getting involved in white people's problems.
Nope.
And just like fully bails.
Yeah, dips out of the kitchen. So Lloyd is just like, fuck, where's the overseer's house? And May Lily is there. And she's like, oh, it's through the woods. And Lloyd is like,
the
fuck
fastest way there is through the woods.
I'm going to go through the woods
spooky
then.
woods.
Now, this is nearing the end of the day. So the sun is starting to set. So she decides to run and get him. And it's through the very scary Wicked Witch of the West's woods. Same vibe. And so we get a bunch of quick cuts in between several people. So we see Elizabeth on her way home and she's stopped by the well-wisher and is just like, I have a remedy. Do you want to come with me? And she's like, no, I have to get home. And then Lloyd runs into a very scary owl with like bright eyes and like falls down. And I'm like, I would also fall down if like an owl with luminous eyes looked at me. And then we see Becky trying to break her way out of the pantry, and then Liz is almost home, and Lloyd finally gets to the overseer Undertaker
Undertaker's house. She knocks on the door, and first the Undertaker overseer comes out being like, whose child is this?
Who are you?
And she's like, my grandfather's here. And so Grandfather Colonel comes to the door. He goes like, Lloyd, what's going on? And she tells him, she's like, look, there's bad men at my house. They're threatening my father. I need your help. And Colonel is immediately like,
Why on
I'm
earth should I
not
help
helping
your
your father. Why would I help him? And she goes, but you have to.
He's
and
my
he goes,
dad
no,
and I
no.
love him. And he's like, hard no.
And so Lloyd gets super, super mad at the Colonel, and she calls him a wicked old man.
Hateful.
And she doesn't want to see him ever again. And she runs back through the forest, and that gets him going.
I know, he's just like, whoa, 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 the forest is dangerous. Come back here, small child.
I think it's that she said she never wants to see him
I think it's
again.
a little bit of both. But anyway, so back at the cottage, Elizabeth gets home, and the swindlers try and get the deed off of her. And she, like, refuses, and they start to manhandle her a little bit. And once they start, like, shaking her a bit, Jack is like, stop, don't touch my wife. We'll give you the deed. Fine. Because he's still sick. He can't actually stand up.
And just as she starts to hand it over, through the back door comes Grandfather with a gun, and he shoots the swindler in the hand.
It's ridiculous and very efficient.
Yes. And they're like, whoa, this is just a business deal, old
We're just
man.
doing business.
And the grandfather immediately says, like, bullshit.
Yep.
I know what's happening. Just then, the sheriff of this town arrives.
Because it turns
Suddenly
out
there's like 8 people in this room.
Yeah, because it turns out Mariah did go ask for help.
Oh, is that why?
That's why. I know, because he was like, your cook came and told us that there was some problems at the cottage. So Mariah did go and ask for help.
I missed that.
Yeah.
And the grandfather's like, arrest these 2 men. This is why I was like, does the grandfather just like have the word of the law? Why is the sheriff just like, yes, absolutely,
Yes,
I will
he
arrest
does.
these men? Now I know that the sheriff had more context coming in.
Yes.
Okay.
So-
but the swindlers are arrested and hauled
Jack
off.
gets his deed back.
Jack gets his deed back.
Yeah. Then Elizabeth and her dad embrace, they make up, and
Reconcile.
Lloyd runs and hugs her dad, and then the colonel is just like, well, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound, and he goes over to Jack and shakes his hand, and so everything is resolved.
And then Becky breaks
Out of the closet, and she's like, whoa! Cut to a tea party.
Yes, this is the pink story that Lloyd finally gets. It's a tea party at the colonel's house.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people there. Jack and Elizabeth are having a great time. Jack's healthy again.
Yeah, the colonel is looking for Lloyd, and she's hiding in some rose bushes, and so she sneaks up on the colonel and steals his cane and pokes him with it. And they end up like
Yeah.
saluting each other, and
I'm hugging.
that's the end.
And that's the end.
Yeah.
That's the end. Amazing.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this? Just solid mid.
I
Just
didn't
solid.
hate it.
That, you know what? Great place to start, especially for an old-timey movie.
Yes, I did not hate it because the colonel was not viewed in a good light. I think if his behavior had been viewed in a positive light, then I would have hated it.
Yeah.
I think they could have gone, obviously this is 1935. In my modern sensibilities, I was like, they could go a lot farther. As a person who was born in the South, who has family members with aggressively different ideas viewpoints than I do, I understand Elizabeth in a way, of just having to sort of make a decision about which family members you sort of keep around. So it was very much of its time. I think it did its best for the fact that it was 1935.
Yeah, and I think, God, how do I want to say this? Because he wasn't the antagonist.
No, I mean,
like,
the swindlers were the true
antagonists at
antagonists,
the end.
but like...
The colonel is our antagonist until he's no longer an antagonist.
Right, until he helps.
Yeah. The film established, like, pretty clearly but vaguely why he was the antagonist. Like, there could have been a lot more awful things that he did that really
it could have
made
been a
him
lot more
villain,
explicit
but maybe,
about the era that it was based in.
yeah, it's definitely like a generalized tale. But to be fair, maybe that was a choice so that he was able to be redeemable.
Right.
And if they made him quite...
completely irredeemable, then it wouldn't make sense that Elizabeth and Jack would allow him in their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a little bit off for me, but that again is coming from a 2022 standpoint.
Yeah, coming from 2022.
Yeah, so I think I'll stand by. I think they did the best that they could for 1935.
I'm glad I got to see it because now I've seen the staircase scene in context.
Exactly.
That's a great segue.
Segue.
Do you want to do some history?
Dramaturgy.
Drink some dramaturgy. Dramaturgy report. Dramaturgy report. We talked about this before we started recording again, but I've got a nice, vaguely chilled white wine, and Grace has Prosecco.
I do, a pink Prosecco.
Okay. So this film was directed by David Butler. He was an American actor, film director, producer, screenwriter, and TV director. In his career, he had a 9-year tenure at Fox, during which he directed over 30 movies, including 4 Shirley Temple films. David Butler also ended up working with Bing Crosby and Doris Day, and then later in his career primarily directed television. He was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960. Our cinematographer's name is Arthur Charles Miller.
Great.
So
Arthur
I'm gonna
Miller.
call him Arthur Miller.
But it's not the Arthur Miller.
It's not playwright Arthur Miller. It is cinematographer Arthur Miller. He's an American cinematographer. He was nominated for the Oscar for Best Cinematography 6 times. He won 3. most famously for the 1947 film Anna and the King of Siam.
Amazing.
Once he moved to Hollywood, he had a lengthy tenure at Paramount from the late 19-teens through the 20s. And in 1932, he signed a long-term contract with Fox to be the cinematographer for every Shirley Temple film that they produced.
I love
so he worked with Shirley Temple a lot, in addition to doing like Anna and the King of Siam.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. So this story was based off of a book. This was written by Annie Fellows Johnston, who's an American author of children's fiction who wrote the popular The Little Colonel series. So this is what it was based on. Now, this script was written by William Conselman, who also wrote newspaper comic strips under his byline and sometimes under the pseudonym Frank Smiley.
Not Arthur Miller.
Not Arthur Miller. Under his pseudonym,
The Little Colonel, written by Arthur Miller.
Under his pseudonym, Tennessee Williams. Like, all right. So to talk a little bit about the screenplay, Shirley Temple had already appeared in 5 films that were released in 1934. So like she had 5 films in 1 year. Wild. Now, it was a little bit controversial. They weren't really sure if they were going to cast Bill Robinson because they weren't really sure of his ability as an actor because he was known mostly as a vaudeville performer. So they arranged for the contract to be voided if he failed his screen test. But he passed the test and he was brought in to star with Shirley Temple. And they had instant chemistry. They got along really, really well. So they had this conception of this famous staircase dance that would really highlight Bill Robinson's talent as a tap dancer. And he liked the idea, but he also realized that, we can't do a super, super complex stair dance to Shirley Temple at that point, who was like 6 or 7. And they only had like a few days to do it and not a lot of rehearsal time. So he instead taught her to kick the riser, the face of each step. And he would then, after like sort of watching her practice, he modified his own choreography to match what she could do so that it looked like she was mimicking his steps. But really, he was sort of mimicking her talent level to make her look better than she was, which is the best type of performer, is someone who focuses on making their partner look good. Now, they became close friends as a part of his dance coaching and their scenes together. He reportedly carried pictures of her wherever he went. And she once said in an interview, "Bill Robinson treated me as an equal, which was very important to me. He didn't talk down to me like a little girl, and I liked people like that. He was the best of all." So they had a really, really important relationship. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Shirley Temple and then Bill Robinson and sort of who they were to each other. So she was born in 1928. So she began her film career at the age of 3 in 1931. And 2 years later, she achieved international fame in the movie Bright Eyes, which was specifically written for her. She also received a special Juvenile Academy Award in 1935. She had a bunch of hits like Curly Top and Heidi. She capitalized a lot on licensed merchandise. And once she sort of hit adolescence, her box office popularity waned. So she was in 29 films from the ages of 3 to 10, but in only 14 films from the ages of 14 to 21, and she retired from film by the age of 22. She also sat on the board of corporations and organizations including Disney, Delmont Foods, and the National Wildlife Federation. She also then turned to diplomacy. She started her diplomatic career in 1969, and she was appointed to represent the United States at the session of the United Nations General Assembly, where she worked at the U.S. mission under the ambassador Charles Yost. She also ended up being named the U.S. ambassador to Ghana and Czechoslovakia, and also served as chief of protocol of the United States. Wild. She's such an incredibly talented and brilliant woman. She received numerous honors and awards throughout her life, including the Kennedy Center Honors and the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award. She is 18th on the American Film Institute's list of greatest female American screen legends of the classic Hollywood era. So she is a really, really fascinating person. And if you want to look into her diplomatic career, there's a lot more information about that, but I'll just leave that for now. Now, Bill Robinson, he was an American tap dancer, actor, and singer, and he was known as the most highly paid African-American entertainer in the United States during the first half of the 20th century. His career sort of mirrored the changes in American entertainment tastes. He began in the age of minstrel shows and then moved into vaudeville and then Broadway and then recording and then eventually films and radio and television. So he sort of followed the progression of what entertainment was and hit every single one of them. According to dance critic Marshall Stearns, Robinson's contribution to tap dance is exact and specific. He brought it up onto its toes, dancing upright and swinging, adding a hitherto unknown lightness and presence to tap dancing. His signature routine was the stair dance, which is in this movie, in which he would tap up and down a set of stairs in a rhythmically complex sequence of steps. He's also credited with having popularized the word copacetic through his repeated use of it in vaudeville and radio appearances, which is kind of interesting. He's best known for his dancing with Shirley Temple in a series of films during the 30s, and for starring in the musical Stormy Weather in 1943, which was loosely based on his own life, and that was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. He also used his popularity to challenge and overcome numerous racial barriers. He was one of the first minstrel and vaudeville performers to appear as Black without the use of blackface makeup, as well as one of the earliest Black performers to perform solo, overcoming vaudeville's segregation rule. Additionally, he was an early headliner in Broadway shows. He was the first Black performer to appear in a Hollywood film in an interracial dance team in this movie, so this is the first time.
Yeah, in this film.
Yep. And he was the first performer to headline a mixed-race Broadway production. He did come under some heavy criticism for his apparent tacit acceptance of racial stereotypes of the era. He resented this, and his biographer suggested that critics were underestimating the difficulties faced by Black performers of the time, especially when engaging with mainstream white culture, and they were sort of ignoring his efforts to overcome racial prejudice. In his public life, he led efforts to persuade the Dallas Police Department to hire its first Black policeman. He lobbied President Franklin Delano Roosevelt during World War II for more equal treatment of Black soldiers, and he staged the first integrated public event in Miami, a fundraiser which was attended by both Black and white city residents. He was a popular figure in the entertainment world and is remembered for the support he gave to his fellow performers, which is sort of what I was talking about in terms of like always making sure that whoever you're working with is looking the best that they possibly can. He worked with Fred Astaire, Lena Horne, Jesse Owens, the Nicholas brothers, Sammy Davis Jr., and Ann Miller. They all credited him as a teacher and mentor. And despite being the highest paid Black performer of the time, he ended up dying penniless in 1949. And in 1989, Congress designated Robinson's birthday of May 25th as National Tap Dance Day.
Aww.
So that's who they were, and that's sort of who they were to each other. He was hugely influential in so many people's lives, especially in the dance and the theater and the film industry. Yeah.
That's a good segue into reviews and reception, though. So, in general, I think critics were hard on this film. That being said, audiences loved it. The reviews that I read were critical of sympathetic Dixie atmosphere and exploitative. Is that the word? Exploitative?
Exploitative, yeah.
Shirley Temple's talents. Yeah. That being said, all the reviews talk about how there were standing ovations by audience members.
For like a minute afterwards.
Yeah. And when this came out in 1935, when it was screened for audiences in the southern U.S., to ensure the widest distribution, Fox cut the staircase scene because Shirley Temple and Robinson held hands.
Yes.
That was a call they made.
Expected, but, you know.
Yeah. You want to do some singing and dancing?
Yeah, so there's not a lot of singing. I mentioned earlier that Elizabeth's voice I found to be a lovely alto, which you don't often see. She didn't fall victim to the classic sort of 30s style of singing, which is a very... Yeah.
Snow White. Other than that, Shirley Temple sang, and
Shirley
that was
Temple had a song. I promise, guys, I promise the next couple episodes are going to be True Blue musicals.
Yes, this was not a True Blue musicale. There was dancing, and there was singing, but...
Not together.
And it did not advance the plot. It was performative by the characters. It was not plot-driven.
No. And then with dancing, we had, of course, Bill Robinson's tap dancing, and it was delightful.
Tap dancing is fucking
That's my
hard.
homework, is to watch the stale dancing.
The staircase scene? Great.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was my giggle earlier? I had it. My moment. Oh no, I had my moment of
It was
joy
the dog.
earlier.
The dog behind.
Was
the
the dog? Yeah.
I know. I think for me it's his reactions during the whole thing, and like right afterwards when Colonel Grandpa just comes out of the room and Walker's immediately like, I don't know how the dog got in there.
This entire film, I'll say the giggle was the dog, and my moment of joy is just that I'm in awe of Shirley Temple as an actress.
Oh my
The fact that she was
right?
fully memorized and was playing a
Well, and
character, and
there's apparently is this your fun fact about
that she corrected Barrymore on his lines? No, it's not.
Colonel Grandpa? Yeah, she corrected Colonel Grandpa on his
That
lines, and
can
he
be
had
your-
a hissy fit,
Yeah.
and it like walked out. And I was like,
My
of course
fun
he
fact is
fucking
about
did.
him, but it's not about that instance.
What are your gripes?
I don't know. I guess I kind of wanted more character development from the parents.
Yeah,
This is a film for Shirley Temple. The film is about her relationship
Shirley
with her
Temple and the
grandfather.
grandfather.
Yes. I found the parents one-dimensional.
Very one-dimensional. I did like that they had a true love marriage.
Mm-hmm.
They were consistently supportive of each other, so at least she had like a good representation of what a relationship should be. I don't have any real gripes, but it's not because the movie was great. It was more just like it did its best, I think.
Yep.
That's sort of where I'm at. It did its best.
My gripe is that they called that house a cottage.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I will get on board with that. That is not a fucking cottage. That is a 2-story house. Just because your fence is falling down does not make it a cottage.
Oh my gosh. Okay, my fun fact is just kind of general knowledge about Lionel Barrymore, who played our Colonel Grandfather.
Yeah.
If the Barrymore name sounds familiar, he is indeed related to Drew Barrymore.
Oh.
And if the name Barrymore sounds familiar to other people, he's one of the 3 Barrymore siblings, Ethel Barrymore and John Barrymore. He is the oldest of the 3.
I always forget that Drew Barrymore is part of like a dynasty.
A dynasty of actors. Yeah. So Lionel was a bigger hit in Hollywood than his siblings ever were. His siblings were much more like stage dynasties.
Yeah.
Lionel did win an Oscar. Ethel did as well. John never did.
Poor John, the failure of the family.
It's actually really interesting. He was never even nominated because in the day, you couldn't be nominated if you had no ties to a studio, and he was a freelance actor.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Fuck the studio system.
Fuck the studios. But back to Lionel. Lionel won an Oscar in the Best Actor category for A Free Soul in 1931. He was also an Oscar-nominated director and composer. Funny enough, he's best known in many circles for his portrayal of Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah!
Oh my god. Oh my god, now I hear it in the voice now that I'm thinking about it. That's the same voice. Like, he looks different because he's much older there, or I guess, or they put like him in different like costume
Oh no,
makeup,
that was 11 years after this film.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I was like, it's a different visual, but yeah, now that I'm hearing the voice, I'm like, that is exactly the same. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And for a really long time, when A Christmas Carol was on radio broadcast every year, he played Scrooge. And so like he was known.
He has that angry voice.
In that like, yeah, he honestly, one of the things I read was just like, he was known for playing like irritable old men.
Grumpy voiced.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, that's my fun
How
fact.
cool. I love that. Good fun fact.
Yeah, despite him being a dick to Shirley Temple when he didn't know his lines.
Yeah, when she was just like, actually, your line is this. And he's like, and then he walked off set.
Yeah.
Anyway, excellent. I've already said my homework, which is a staircase dance.
Yep, staircase
we'll
dance.
post a link of that. It's
Yes.
really lovely.
Especially now that I know the way that Robinson kind of altered his steps to make her shine.
I watched it because he has his own full solo and then they dance together. And they really highlight the feet. And so when you look at it, you can tell that he is augmenting himself to match her, which is really phenomenal partnership and performance. All right.
I think that's all she wrote.
I think so too.
Incredible. This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. This episode was The Little Colonel from 1935. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Hit that like and subscribe button and stay tuned for our next episode, which I swear will be an actual musical.
Dear God, if it's not, I will change it right now.
See you next week. I've been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.